Face up. You need fast break points, but more importantly, you're playing against a team that is a half-court defensive set type team. They lock in, they know your plays. So you need to speed it up to try to get some advantages and opportunities where you don't call a half-court play.
George, pump fake on a three, pulls up for two. Book it. Indiana starting to get back to who the
footer should not be last or fourth out of the starting lineup. I look for him to get more involved in the defensive end where he really needs to prove his value.
George, the redirect to the hoop. Paul George. Indiana, though, is 6 of 7 from the field. Washington, very little resistance on this end of the floor. George, mismatch. A floater, Paul George, 59%. That includes an 11 of 21 showing in that Game 3 loss on Friday. Poked away by Ariza. George goes to the backcourt. We are past the halfway point of this first quarter. George takes the opening, drives in, Nene there, and George sticks with the play for the deuce.
Help get a shot early in the shot clock, or better yet, before or any time before the defense gets set.
Washington cuts it to one. George, a bounce for West. One-on-one with Nene, no help. George, a bomb for three. Paul George from deep. Inside.
Good job by Hibbert running down the floor, getting back in the sight there of Ariza.
George, a lot of contact. It's a blocking foul.
Big guy that can hand you the ball and let you get that space behind. A great play to have.
Follow this year's lackluster performance. They have been fully engaged from the very start here tonight in Game 4. Hill on a kick. George fires the three and hits.
Give Hibbert the assist for that play. That's why you want your big man in there. It seems as if Indiana's trying to get him some off-the-ball action to work Ariza, but to also get George inside for an easy one.
Second foul on Trevor Ariza. 5 on the timer. Paul George, a three. Turns it over. George pushing it up the floor. Hill doesn't take the three. Wall recovers. George goes to the outside. A three ball. He's got it.
It was such a great job of Washington.
Stepping forward for Washington.
No inside play for the Wizards, so right now it'd be best if Miller comes off the pick and roll of Harrington and Gooden to space the floor and put their big fellas in Indiana in a tough position defensively.
9 to shoot, 20 seconds to play in the third. Washington up by 4. George fires over Ariza. Bullseye for three.
He's feeling it.
For you here on TNT. First trip to the line in the second half for Washington. Al Harrington extends the Wizards' lead to 3. Turner against Beal. Back in there for the Wizards. Shot clock is down to 3, down to 2. George beats the shot clock and scores! Plus the foul. Paul George is locked in.
He's on the shot clock. Paul George takes the contact, knocks it down.
27 points for George. We're tied at 74. 13 from the field. Kick out for George. Offers up the three and hits. Paul George. Big numbers. 30 points for George. Here, that one was in Landover officially. 6-point lead for Washington with 5 minutes to play in the fourth. George, step back three. Oh, it's good and a foul! Paul George with a chance at a 4-point play.
Give Frank Vogts 3 for 10. He passed up an open jumper right there at the free throw line. His coach yelled at him as George gets another backdoor cut. But his coach yelled at him and said, take the open shot. John Wall did not take. See that ball go through the hoop when you're just struggling.
9 points, 7 assists for John Wall. Paul George has exploded in the second half. Win or go. 34 points, 9 rebounds. Paul George has scored the last 7 for Indiana. And tack on another. That's 8 straight for George. Washington. Their last lead was 27 to 26 after the first quarter. George is fouled, and it looked like it was going to be a turnover. Rightfully won the award with one of the best acceptance speeches in sports history. This game was tied at 74. Washington wins up.
I think that's probably what got George. Not the foul on Ariza, but the Hulk Hogan elbow drop or body drop that parents.
Hey, shot clock is down to 10. Washington holding on to a 1-point lead. George the drive to the rim. Foul called. Paul George, 86% shooter this season. He is 6 of 8 tonight at the line. Indiana is 16 of 25. We're tied at 91. 27 points in the second half. And that's 39 now for Paul George. 1-point lead for Indiana.
And it's an easy 39. He's not forcing anything. He's letting it